The book, Awaken the Giant Within, How to Take Immediate Control of Your Mental, Emotional, Physical, and Financial Destiny, Part 1. There is a sleeping giant inside you. Have you ever had this feeling? You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and suddenly it hits you. What was I born for? You know you're capable of so much more, and yet you're stuck. It's not loud. It doesn't scream. It just quietly gnaws at you, like something powerful inside is trapped, waiting to break free. Tony Robbins calls that feeling the sleeping giant. It's the strongest, most creative, most free version of you. But it's buried under old habits, old fears, and a life you never consciously chose. This book, Awaken the Giant Within, is not just another self-help manual. It's a wake-up call, not from someone else, but from your future self, the version of you that already lives on the other side of fear and laziness. And that version is calling you home. You once knew what you wanted: a better job, a healthier body, a freer life with fewer worries. Then what happened? You postponed, you waited for the right time, and slowly you fell asleep on your own dreams. Tony won't promise you that it's easy, but what he gives you is a map. Each chapter is a piece of the puzzle: how to think, how to feel, how to make decisions, break habits, control your money, and take full ownership of your life. And the journey? It doesn't start with big steps. It starts with one small question you ask yourself every day. What's that question? We'll get to that in the next part. Your mindset is everything. Changing your life begins with a single question. Part 2. Your mindset is everything. The quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of the questions you ask yourself every day. That's not a motivational quote. That's reality. It's you, standing in the middle of your own chaos, asking, what the hell am I doing with my life? Most people don't lack time. They don't lack knowledge. They lack the right questions. Because the right question doesn't just help you think differently. It helps you see differently. Here's an example. Why do I always fail? Your brain answers right away. Because you're not good enough. Now, ask a different question. What can I learn from this to do better next time? Suddenly, your brain looks for answers, solutions, growth. That's the power of questions. Tony calls it the steering wheel of the mind. Every question is like a rudder. It guides your direction. Optimists aren't born. They train themselves to ask better questions. That's why some people read 100 books and still don't change. They take in new information, but they ask the same old questions. They live through the same filter, and nothing changes. Here's a practice from the book. Each morning before you touch your phone, ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? How do I want to feel today? What can I do today to become the person I want to be? Simple? Yes, but do it every day and your mind will start to shift. Because life doesn't change when you know more. It changes when you think differently, and that shift begins right here in your mindset. Next up, even with the right mindset, something still gets in the way. Not from the outside, from within. Your emotions. Let's talk about why emotions aren't the enemy, but the compass. Part 3. Emotions are not the enemy. You can't control the waves, but you can learn to surf. It's the same with emotions. You can't avoid sadness, worry, or anger, but you can learn to listen to them and navigate through them. Most people either get dragged around by their emotions or try to shove them down and pretend they're not there. Tony sees emotions differently. They're not problems. They're signals. They show you something inside that needs your attention. Anxiety? It's not a villain. It's a reminder to prepare better. Anger? It's often the pain of your values being crossed. What matters most isn't what you feel. It's how you interpret what you feel. Try renaming it. Instead of saying, I'm afraid to fail, say, I'm preparing for something important. Instead of, I got rejected, say, I'm being redirected to something better. It's not spin. It's called reframing, and it's one of the most powerful tools for emotional strength. Tony teaches this simple truth. If you can control the meaning you give to your emotions, you can begin to control your life. You don't need to delete emotions. You just need to change their role from driver to guide. Like a compass, emotions don't lead you unless you know how to read them. They don't define who you are. They're just signals. And where you go from here, that's still your choice. Coming up next, we'll talk about something even deeper. The invisible wall between you and your potential, your beliefs. Let's uncover how limiting beliefs quietly shape your life and how to break through them. Sadoitis, Part 4, Beliefs, the invisible firewall between you and success. The most dangerous thing in life isn't what you don't know. It's what you think you know that just isn't true. We call those limiting beliefs. Beliefs are like the glasses you wear every morning. They shape what you see and what you miss. The tricky part? Most of us never stop to ask if we're even wearing the right pair. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm not a good communicator? I'll never make real money because I wasn't born with a business brain. I just don't have the willpower to change. Those aren't facts. They're just stories. Stories you've repeated so many times they became your internal operating system. Tony Robbins teaches that beliefs are the root of everything you do or don't do. They act like invisible fences. You can't see them, but they block every path you try to take. The real question is, what do you believe? That's keeping you smaller than who you really are? Most people aren't defeated by the world. They're defeated by the story they keep telling themselves. Here's the good news. Beliefs aren't inherited, they're learned. And if they're learned, they can be unlearned. Tony shares a simple way to break through limiting beliefs. First, name the old belief. For example, I'm not good enough to succeed. Next, look for proof that belief isn't true. Remember a time you did something you once thought was impossible. Then, replace that old belief with a new one. Something like, I'm getting better every day, and that's enough to start. You can't live a new life with an old operating system. If you want new results, you need the courage to update your beliefs. And when you start believing in a better future, something strange happens. You begin to act like it's already real. Thoughts shift, emotions shift. And then, behavior follows. Let's move to the next part. Decisions, the tiny trigger that changes everything. Part 5. Decisions, the tiny trigger that changes everything. Your life doesn't change after years of thinking. It changes the moment you make one clear decision. A push of a button, a quiet, enough. A bold, let's go. Tony Robbins defines it like this. A real decision is when you cut off all other options. No more backup plans. No more, maybe later. Just action. So why do so many people know they need to change but still don't? Because they don't feel ready. They wait for more time, more money, more confidence. But the truth is, decisions don't come from being ready. Being ready comes from making a decision. You could spend your whole life planning, preparing, learning, but nothing will change until you draw a line in the sand and say, now. Sometimes, that decision doesn't have to be big. It could be as small as waking up 30 minutes earlier, ending a toxic relationship, writing down a goal, and actually committing to it. Tony shares his own story. After a series of failures, he walked alone on the beach. No one was there to encourage him. No one was coming to save him. And one question echoed in his mind. How long am I going to live like this? That was it. He decided to end the old version of himself and start becoming the person he knew he could be. No spotlight, no applause, but that one moment changed everything. You can't control the future, but you can control one thing: the decision you make today. And sometimes one decision, just one, can completely redraw your entire life map. Now let's go deeper. Behind every decision, belief, and emotion, there's something else quietly shaping it all. The language you use. Part 6. Language. The way you name things shapes the world inside you. You don't react to the world. You react to how you interpret it. And the tool you use to interpret the world is language. Language isn't just for communication. It's how you define reality for yourself. Take one event. 2 people experience it. One calls it a tragedy. The other calls it a lesson. One stays stuck. The other grows. Tony says, the words you choose become the emotions you feel. Call a failure a disaster, and you'll feel like a victim. Call it a slip, and you keep your power. Try this. Instead of saying, I was betrayed, say, I just learned who's not meant to walk with me. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I'm just getting started, and that's okay. Does it sound lighter? Maybe, but it's not about sugarcoating. It's about taking back control of how you feel and respond. The words you use every day are like seeds you plant in your mind. Plant harsh, negative words. You grow a hostile world. Plant calm, clear, or positive words. You make space to breathe and move forward. Maybe the world doesn't need to change as much as you think. Maybe you just need to rename it. Now, even with the right mindset, emotions, beliefs, and language, it's all still just theory, unless you take action. In the next part, we'll talk about what separates dreamers from doers. Action. Because thinking without doing is just a very long dream. Part 7. Action. Because thinking without doing is just a very long dream. There's a quiet trap that most of us fall into. We think we're growing, when really, we're just getting better at thinking. You read books, you take notes, you listen to podcasts, you nod your head and say, that's so true. But then, you change nothing. Tony Robbins calls it the illusion of progress. You feel like you've made a shift because you've learned something new. But the truth is, your life only changes when you act, not when you collect information. Action doesn't have to be huge. It just has to begin. That call you've been avoiding, that project you've been putting off, that promise you made to yourself, but never followed through. Successful people don't do it all. They just do what matters, now. They don't wait for motivation to show up. They move first. And that movement creates the motivation. Tony puts it simply, if you take one small action every day, your life can look completely different 1 year from now. The best part? You don't have to change everything all at once. Just start with one thing. The one thing you can't justify skipping today. The difference between someone who reads 100 books and someone who transforms their life isn't intelligence. It's courage. Courage to apply one idea and keep going. Now, let's talk about one of the most practical places to apply this mindset. Your money. Part 8. Financial freedom, a lifestyle decision. Financial freedom doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your choices. A lot of people believe, once I make 6 figures a month, I'll feel secure. Once I double my investments, I'll quit my job. Once I have more money, I'll finally relax. Tony Robbins disagrees. He believes financial freedom is a state of mind, a place where you know exactly what you need, what you value, and you make a clear promise to yourself. Money will no longer control my life. It's not about extreme saving. It's not about chasing wealth at all costs. It's about clarity. Clarity in how you earn, how you spend, and how you invest. Tony breaks it down into 3 simple steps. First, know your minimum living costs, so fear doesn't own you when income shifts. Second, set your own target for freedom, not someone else's idea of success. Third, automate your investing in yourself, in your skills, in assets that build passive income. You don't have to be the richest person to be the freest. You just have to define what enough looks like for you and show up every day with discipline to reach it. Money is just a tool. It only becomes a problem when it takes the wheel. But if you learn to steer, it'll carry you toward freedom. Freedom of time, of choice, and of peace. But for all of this to work, the mindset, the emotion, the habits, the money, you have to do one thing first. You have to wake yourself up. Let's move into the final part. Part 9. Conclusion. The giant won't wake up on its own. There's a giant inside you, not someone else. You, the version of you that's bolder, wiser, stronger. But here's the truth. That giant won't wake up on its own. No one is coming to shake you each morning. No miracle is going to do the work for you. This book isn't just another shot of motivation. It's a blueprint, a map that shows you how to master yourself step by step. Master your thoughts by asking better questions. Master your emotions by paying attention to them. Master your beliefs by rewriting the old script. Master your behavior by building daily habits. And master your finances with intention and discipline. Maybe you once had big dreams, but life got loud and those dreams got buried under the noise. Maybe today is the day you sit down and ask yourself, how much longer will I let that dream stay asleep? No one's coming to save you. But here's the good news. You don't need saving. You just need one decision. Wake yourself up. If something in this video spoke to you, don't let it fade like another piece of online inspiration. Click the link in the description to get your full copy of Awaken the Giant Within on Amazon. This isn't just a book. It's a mirror, one that helps you meet the stronger version of yourself. And if this video gave you value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this message. Because maybe you won't just change your own life. You'll be the spark that helps someone else begin theirs.